You are listening to Forged Among Stars, a solo RPG actual play podcast presented by DiceGeeks.com. Welcome. My name is Matt Davids. I will be your game master and only player during this season of Forged Among Stars. I am a tabletop RPG writer, game designer, as well as a novelist. I thank you so much for joining me as I play through Ironsworn Starforged, a tabletop RPG designed by Shawn Tomkin. If you would like to learn more about me or the game, please check for links in the description wherever you are listening to this podcast. Now, it is time to journey among the stars. All right, well, this is the third part of Session 0. We have created the bones of our universe in the first part. Then we created our character, Hawking Duval, in the second part. Now we're going to create the sector in which Hawking starts his adventures. And of course, Starforged has a system of random tables that are made so you can just create a sector randomly, and that is what I will be doing. I will be rolling randomly to figure out our sector. Now, the Forge, the galaxy within where our campaign takes place, is divided into 4 parts in the book. Part 1 is the Terminus, which is where most of the settlements are. Then there's the Outland, which is kind of like the Wild Frontier. Then there's the Expanse, very few people, and then there's the Void, where there's hardly anybody, if anybody can even go there. So I think Hawking Duval has had to leave the Terminus because of the problems that he had in his background, that he was denied a birthright, and that he was burned so bad that he was sick of it, and he has gone, and he has been exploring and traveling through the Outlands. And so we are going to locate our sector within the Outlands. And since we are located in the Outlands, that means we are going to generate 3 settlements to start our game. And so, like I said, they have a whole process here in the PDF of Starforged. It is really awesome. We're going to run through that. I may speed things up a little bit through the magic of editing, but we are going to create settlements so we have a good idea of the sector that we are starting this campaign in. So as we walk through the creation process of the sector and the settlements, we're going to learn the settlement name, location, population, authority, settlement projects, and then we're going to learn what kind of settlements they are. Really interesting system here in Starforged. So I'm going to start rolling on some tables, and the first settlement is called Lodestar. It is an orbital settlement. The population is only dozens of people, and the government is ineffectual. Its projects are terraforming and secrecy. And since Lodestar is an orbital settlement, it orbits an ice world called Thule. So I guess they are secretly terraforming the ice world of Thule, maybe? I don't know. But we are going to move on. Since we get 3, we're going to roll again on some more tables, and we're going to create another settlement. So the name of this settlement we got is Paragon. It is also an orbital station. The population is only a few, so just only a handful of people. And the government is oppressive. Yikes. And the settlement projects are automation and salvage. And it orbits a jungle world called Keladon. And if we need more details, we'll zoom in. But I'm just creating the main ones right now. Once we figure out where Hawking will start his adventure. We'll zoom in on that settlement. So the next settlement is called Larissa. It is a deep space settlement, has thousands of people. The government is fair, and its projects are mining and subsistence. So we have a deep space station of some kind with thousands of people, a fair government who are subsistence miners somehow. And it is called Larissa. So those are our three settlements, and I have created those using the random tables in the PDF of Starforged. Now, I have already generated some basic information about the planets that our orbital settlements are around. The next step is stars. They say this is an optional table, but I went ahead and rolled it because if you remember back when we were creating kind of the outline or the bones or the structure of our world, it says that white dwarf stars have something weird going on with like life and death. So I rolled for stars. So Lodestar is around a young star, and Paragon Station, its system is a yellow star. And I did that because, like I said, if I would have rolled a white dwarf star, we'd have zombies. The next step is to create passages between our settlements and kind of the edge of the sector map. Since we're in the Outlands, we have 3 settlements, but we only get 2 passages. And one has to connect us to the edge of the sector map. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect a passage from the sector map outline to Paragon, and then one from Paragon to Lodestar. So Larissa is kind of just out there in the sector, and I know it's there. My character knows it's there, but it does not have kind of a set passage there. If he were to travel there, he would have to forge his own path. And there are mechanics for that in the game, which we will talk about later. If I can learn how to play this game, which I am really excited to do. If we ever get there, we're still creating our world. But I am having a blast with this. So now we pick one of the settlements and we're going to zoom in on it. And that is where we will start the campaign. So I am going to go ahead and pick Paragon. Paragon is the orbital platform around a jungle world called Celadon. So I'm going to zoom in here, and when we see Paragon, they have some first look tables and some feature tables. Definitely going to roll on those. So when we first see Paragon Station, it has intimidating defenses. Intimidating defenses. Okay, so this little station that has only a handful of people on it and is involved in automation and salvage has some very intimidating defenses. So I'm imagining, like some cannons, very visible, large kind of cannons, some kind of laser energy weapons. It's just really cool. Maybe some kind of large shield generator of some kind. I'm not exactly sure, but it's very intimidating, and it's right here. That's what it looks like when you first come up on it. Also, another feature, it is near a precursor vault. Yes. Hawking Duval is a lore hunter. He is a tomb raider. He is looking for knowledge. This is it. We're starting off right next to a precursor vault. This is going to be great. The precursor vault is a structure of some kind. What I'm actually going to say is that the vault is located on the planet, the jungle planet of Celadon, and that these handful of people are salvaging maybe just metal and material from that vault through automation, through kind of drones and some other automated equipment that they're sending them. They have like a train back and forth just going down to the planet's surface, kind of like a line, and mining that precursor vault for basically it's raw materials at this point. And they're just kind of pecking it on the surface, right? They're just stripping away some of the raw materials from the surface. And they're using automated kind of salvage equipment, and that's why there is only a few people on this station, and that's what they are doing. Also, I'm going to zoom in a bit on the planet and of Celadon so we can learn a little bit more about that. They have tables for all of this. This is really great. So Celadon has an ideal atmosphere, so it is perfectly suited for humans. We can breathe there. No respirators or anything are necessary. It is a jungle world. It has an unbroken canopy. So it's just this huge, just green planet. It's like almost completely unbroken canopy. Although I will say there is one spot where it's broken, and that is possibly where the precursor vault is sticking out of the trees. Although, if it was that obvious, maybe people would have found it before. So maybe it is underneath the canopy, and these people here at Paragon were the first ones to find it. I may chew on that a little bit. Another feature is that the world has cloud-breaching trees. So there are areas where the trees are just thousands of feet tall. That just is awesome. Like, you can look down. If you're extremely high in the atmosphere, you can just see cloud layers and just trees puncture right through them. And they just reach up through some of the tallest layers of the clouds. It's just amazing. Okay, another feature is that it has an extremely exposed root system. Okay, so this is very cool too. So in certain places and certain areas, there's just going to be large masses of roots that are exposed and create these large, huge tangles. I really like that. And actually, I really like that combined with the precursor vault. Maybe the precursor vault can't be seen from space, or maybe the whole thing can't be seen from space. Part of it is down below the canopy, and these giant roots have grown over top of it. Maybe that's it. Maybe it could have been seen from space, but now these giant roots have just reclaimed it. The jungle has reclaimed most of it, and you just see this giant exposed root system for mainly that part of the precursor vault. I'm also rolling here. I got some interesting things. I rolled a result telling me to roll on the action and theme tables. And so I got constructed energy. So what I'm thinking here is maybe, part of the precursor vault has been covered with this giant root system, but there's some kind of spire, and it's just crackling with some kind of energy. And it's just, millennia old. We don't know what it is. It's just there crackling with energy. I think that's awesome. And I think that's really cool. And so this group of people here, this handful of people on Paragon Station, they have just been sending their automated salvage drones down and just collecting some, materials and metals, just barely scratching the surface. And for some reason, they really have, they haven't dug deeper, and maybe because they can't, or they don't want to, or this is just profitable right now, that they can sell some of the metal and maybe later on do something more extreme, like explore the vault. We are also supposed to roll for settlement trouble. Because, we're zoomed in on the settlement right now. We're going to roll for settlement trouble. And settlement trouble is impending natural disaster. Okay, so I am thinking about this. An impending natural disaster. Okay. I'm gonna put that. I'm kind of gonna put that in my pocket. And I'm going to think about that a little bit, because I'm starting to form kind of the beginning of the campaign already in my mind. So there will be an imminent natural disaster. Okay. Now we're going to need to create a local connection. So there is some person here that Hawking Duval knows, and that is why he has come here. And so Starforged has a process for this. It is a move called Make a Connection, but this is a special one since we're still in the creation of sectors. And so I am going to create a connection here, and I am going to roll on some random tables. First, you pick a roll, R H-O-L-E for the connection. And I'm going to say that this connection is a salvager, like a salvage boss maybe, or runs a salvage company, something along those lines, because this is a salvage operation. So this person would have knowledge about, all kinds of salvage and salvage procedures and perhaps locations of salvage as well. So that makes them a valuable contact for Hawking, since he's looking for ancient knowledge. Then you give them a rank. So there are different ranks, and it kind of just determines the difficulty of how you can accomplish these things. So I'm going to say his connection is actually maybe the easiest, or maybe one up from the easiest. I don't know how dangerous or whatever a person is like this. So yeah, I think I'm going to go for the easiest. So that would be troublesome, because she's not really doing anything illegal that I know of, right? It doesn't indicate, the role as a salvager doesn't seem like it would be too illegal or dangerous in any way. So I'm going to make the rank of this connection troublesome. That's the easiest. Also, I'm just starting out with this game. I don't understand exactly how it works in some places, so I want to accomplish some goals pretty quickly so I can get a feel for what's going on. And so what this does is that at certain times during play, I can try to strengthen this connection with this person. And once I get to a certain level, I could try to create a bond with them. And it's really interesting. It's really cool. Obviously, it goes right into the solo play. So it gives you difficulties that you can't just show up and say, oh, well, they're my best friend now or something. You have to really work at this and do some gameplay to get people kind of on board and on your side. So I think it's great. So we pick the rank of troublesome. Now we're going to roll some details about the person. So I rolled armored and imposing. Okay, so this person wears armor and they are imposing. I went ahead and rolled on another little table here talking about like dispositions, and it says wanting. I don't know exactly what that means. I'll think about that. All right, so some more tables just for fun because I love tables. So let's see here. Some of their goals. This person wants to discover a truth, and they want to refute a falsehood. I'm going to roll more on tables. They are also proud, and they are cunning. So this person is a very interesting person, so I'm going to say they are possibly the leader of Paragon. And if we remember, right, Paragon has an impressive government, even though there's only, 3 or 4 people on the station. So this person is in charge of Paragon. They own some kind of salvage business, and our connection rank with them is troublesome, but their disposition is wanting. Again, I don't know if I know exactly what that means. We're gonna work on that one. But they want to discover a truth. They want to refute a falsehood, and they're proud and they're cunning. So we're going to name this person. So I will roll. Okay, so I got Brianna Keelan, and her call sign is Buzzard. Okay. All right. So I actually think this fits really, really well. I just rolled one time on the table because the name table has first, last, and a call sign all under one result. So I just rolled, and this just all came up in one result. Brianna Keelan, and her call sign is Buzzard. I think Buzzard is a great call sign for somebody who is a salvager, right? She swoops in like a buzzard and takes all the best stuff. And maybe that hasn't set well with some people, so she is called Buzzard. So now that we have that information kind of set up, we need a sector trouble. So this is something that is going to happen in the sector that will cause problems, no doubt, as the campaign progresses. So they have a handy table here. I'm going to roll it. Prophecies foretell an imminent awakening of a dreadful power. Oh, dear goodness. Okay, so yeah, Hawking exploring ancient vaults full of crackling energy probably has nothing to do with a waking of a dreadful power now, does it? Oh my goodness. I think this is going to be a great, great campaign. So we are off to a great start. So that is the sector trouble there. All right. And what we are going to do now, the next step, the last step here, is to name our sector. So they have another handy random table here with like prefix, suffix. So we're going to roll and we're going to put a couple of words together here to get a sector name. So I am rolling. I get Ashen Rift. Well, that's awesome. So the name of our sector is Ashen Rift. Also, before we begin the campaign in the next session, I do want to make sure that everybody knows where we are from a content standpoint. I am going to keep the content of this podcast probably in the PG to PG-13 range. Probably PG-13, a little bit harder on that end. I might push violence or something like that a little bit farther if we get into zombies, which is a possibility. And I also let you know I will not be using profanity. So if that is an issue, I won't be using that. I will try to keep descriptions of violence not as graphic, but if zombies show up, that may be out the window. Also, for like sexual content, if we even get to that, I don't really plan on playing a game like that. Even if we get into that, I will just be like romance, or we'll do dates or something like that, to keep it, like I said, kind of PG-13. I think those things can just be more distractions than actually really empowering the narrative. And also, I said I want to have a mix of all kinds of different cultures. That is totally done out of respect, because I love different cultures. I love studying them. I have studied anthropology in the past. I have read lots and lots of history. I love the distinctiveness that different cultures bring to this life and to our understanding of it. So I am going to mix a lot of that in. Also, I will probably be doing some things kind of in the morals or the moral universe of the Forge that I don't agree with personally, and that probably you won't either. But I really want to try to capture the sense of this is a different people, a different time, if they even came from Earth. Maybe they did, eons and eons ago, but have almost all forgotten it. But I want to make sure that I give them kind of their own moral universe and their own moral codes. So there may be some things that I disagree with that happen. There may be some things that you disagree with. But I want it to be a representation of an alien culture that I'm trying to create, that has their own beliefs and their own religions and their own thoughts about technology and where people belong in that. So I'll be trying to do that all from a creative and imaginative kind of standpoint to create a rich and deep world. We already have some really cool ideas provided from the random tables, and I am really looking forward to diving in to this world, and I hope you are as well. Okay, so just to recap just a bit, we have our 3 settlements. We have Lodestar, Paragon, and Larissa. We've zoomed in on Paragon Station because that is where we are going to start the campaign in the next session, I hope. There are a couple little details that I haven't really ironed out yet. The biggest one would be Hawking Duval's background vow. And I do kind of I think it might be a little audacious, but what I'm getting a sense of, since he is kind of a man based on heart and around willpower, around courage, around loyalty, I think being denied his birthright really affected him. And kind of just also based on some of the things that I rolled on the random tables concerning his background vow. And if you remember, those were defy, law, craft object, gain knowledge. So basically what I'm thinking here, it might be audacious, it might be bold, but this is an epic rank vow. So I think Hawking Duval, who is sometimes called Jester, has been so hurt and so incensed about losing his birthright that he has come to the Outlands to seek ancient knowledge to help him build a new clan which defies law, tradition, and seems to everyone else a hopeless and impossible task. But he has removed from kind of this chain around his neck a sliver, like a broken sliver of metal that has been at one point molten. And this sliver, this tiny sliver, maybe only a few inches long and barely an inch wide, is what he has to swear his iron vows on. It was part of one of those Exodus ships that when his forebears left their galaxy and his ancestors here in the Forge kept those pieces to swear upon, it came down from his grandmothers and grandfathers to him now. And he has this piece of iron, this ancient ship, and he clasps it in his hand. And he swears an oath, a solemn, profound oath, to regain ancient knowledge and build a new clan. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Forged Among Stars. Please consider subscribing to the podcast wherever you are listening to it so you never miss an episode. Another episode will be out soon, but until then, I will see you among the stars.